Are you ready? Seattle, are you ready? Anywhere you want it, that's the way you need it. Anywhere you want it. Let's go, what we got, let's laugh. She loves to sing, she loves everything. She loves to move, she loves to move. Said I love the pain. All night, every night. So hold tight, oh baby, hold tight. She said anywhere you want it, that's the way you need it. Anywhere you want it, She said anywhere you want it, that's the way you need it. Anywhere you want it. I was alone, I never knew what love could do. Oh, then we laughed and we said about love again. All night, oh every night. Are you ready? Let's go. Hold tight, oh baby, hold tight. She said anywhere you want it, that's the way you need it. Anywhere you want it. Yeah, she said anywhere you want it, that's the way you need it. Anywhere you want it. Hi, Seattle.
Hola, Seattle.
I didn't know you were bilingual. I didn't know it was Seattle. It's Spanish.
People were surprised that you spoke Spanish, especially people who speak Spanish. And didn't know what you said. Ladies and gentlemen, let me make this official. Good people of Bellevue and the surrounding counties, I give you Jensen Ackles and Jared Panel.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Hi, guys, gals. What's going on? How you doing? I heard
Don't hurt yourself.
I heard we love you.
Yeah, I went downhill there.
Oh, loves you too. Don't worry. Thrilled to be here, guys. For those who didn't hear earlier, I have a deeply personal connection to this city. All three of my children were born here. So I feel a certain, group health.
Where were the other ones born?
All right. The other ones were born in houses. Full on. I know. Someone's like, what? One was. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I think people have probably just had lunch, so I don't want to really get into the weeds.
Who's excited for the episode that airs this week? Okay, well, you should be.
To all youths who didn't raise your hand, got my eyes on you.
Yeah, we got a cool one happening this week. How many of you were there? I know there were a few people that actually attended the Paley Fest this past week. Okay, very few of you.
Woo!
They got a cool sneak preview of the episode, and it was Jared and I got to sneak in and watch it with. Well, actually, a few of us got to sneak in and watch it with an audience that was maybe a little larger than this crowd here. Yeah, and it was awesome. It was certainly an experience that we had not had.
I actually found myself laughing at it, legitimately, like laughing at it like a TV show as opposed to.
Well, you also have to understand that was the first time we'd seen it too, and we'd only seen renderings of the animation, so we had not seen the animation put to life with our voices behind it and that whole thing. So, and this was stuff that we recorded over a year ago. It's taken them this long that's how long it takes for the animation, the whole process. So, it was a pretty awesome experience. And
So for those who didn't see it, we're excited for y'all to see it on Thursday. It's gonna be good. All right, without further ado, or a don't. Thank you. See?
one did.
There was a general quiet consensus. Yes. Hi.
Hi there. My name is Charity, and my mom Debbie's on the phone. She couldn't be here, so can you say hi, Debbie?
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Okay, I'll call you back, Mom. I love you. Bye.
Debbie's like, whoa, wait, what? What?
Okay, so my question is, on the episode that you had Lucille Jensen, was Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
I thought she was describing, they say like Demon Dean, Soulless Sam. I was like, Lucille Dean? Who was Lucille Dean?
Yeah, we haven't seen that character yet.
That's next week's episode.
It's pretty flavorful.
Was Jeffrey Dean Morgan aware of that scene, or did you just surprise him by letting him watch the scene on his own? And if he was aware or wasn't, what was his reaction to it?
He was not aware. I don't think he was, because it was actually written in the script. It wasn't just some like crazy thing that we cooked up on set, which is normally what those things are. So it was done just kind of very nonchalantly, a little tip of the hat to what they do over there, and I'm not even sure if he saw it or was aware of it. So I imagine his reaction would be like, "Cool," something like that.
Great. All right. Thanks, you guys. Take care.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Charity. Bye, Debbie.
Hi. So, I have a question. You guys have been working on this show for so long. Besides each other,
Hey, take it easy.
You guys have been working on the show for so long. Yes, thank you.
besides each other, who is the closest to you guys, like family-wise, within the cast and crew?
I'm pretty close to this chick who played Ruby. We're real close. Is everybody 18? No. I think for me it's pretty easy. Yeah, I think I'm pretty close to Ruby.
Well, Sister Joe. Wives excluded? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think, well, let's see. There's certainly a family that exists with this cast and crew, and it's we have been very fortunate to have situations like this where we get to kind of all reconnect every few weeks and hang out and get to share this common love for a show that we all have. Bizarro Santa Claus here. You're a few months early.
Security or late.
Security. It would be hard to pick. We've got a pretty solid group of people here, and I think one of the reasons why we continue to not only do the show but to do these kinds of shows is because of the people that we have in our camp, and it's a pretty cool place to be. So I mean, you can run down the list of these guys and Misha and Ruth and Rob and Rich and all of the above, Marks and Cliff. Well, yeah, there was a guy named Cliff. I don't know. I don't think he's here today. But again, it's a pretty awesome group to be a part of, and it keeps growing, which is the coolest thing on the planet. So
We had so it's no secret, I guess, that Spade directed an episode, more than an episode. So he was on set, and cut, and he comes in, he said the lineup, and he says to me, he's like, "Hey, Sam," and I was like, "Sam?" I was like, "Spade, we've stopped the trains in Europe together, and you're calling me Sam? Like, Jared is my name." So, kind of got a funny laugh at that, but to kind of echo Ackle's sentiment, we've been lucky to grow so close with a big old gang of Supernatural cast and crew and extended cast and crew. So I'm just very grateful. Hopefully I'll met some friends too.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi. So what's your guys' best prank, either on set or off set, that you guys have pulled either together or separate? Like, what's your best prank?
I think the 2 weeks that Misha was directing an episode, there were a lot of fun little things. I think just the fear that he lived in, abject terror, I think is what it's called, was enough to put a feather in our cap. I gotta go with that. I think it was just fun to mess with Misha.
yeah, I was talking about this in my meet and greet. The pranks, I guess that you would call them. They're not like very heavily thought out or mapped out like some pranks would be. I said it's more of just a constant array of shenanigans that happens, and if we can mess with somebody, then we do it. So it's not really pranking. It's just this. It's just living. It's just life. I'm constantly screwing with the camera so that it messes up the shot. He's constantly fondling somebody underneath the camera frame. We'll rearrange things. A lot of times we just change the words during our off camera to where it does nothing. They're old. I did this to Spade. I think on Friday. So he comes in and he says his line, and I'm supposed to give a response. And on his coverage, I changed the response to be something probably inappropriate. So there's one of two things that happens. Either he breaks and laughs, and the take is ruined, and my job is complete. Or he holds it together and continues with the scene, but then it festers. So it's just like rolling a grenade into his mind. Because I've said it, and now he can't forget it. But now he's just trying to keep a straight face throughout the rest of the take. So then the take's blown anyway, because he's not even thinking about his diet. It's fantastic, and I enjoy it.
We enjoy it too, so
Well, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
I was just gonna ask, I know you guys probably become real close to your fellow cast members. Out of all the deaths that there's been, have you guys taken any of them worse than others? Knowing that you won't be able to work with them anymore?
Well, the wonderful thing about Supernatural is we really don't know that we won't work with him anymore.
I'd say early on we probably took some deaths pretty hard, you know, like it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they killed that character off. Like I love that character. I also love the person that plays it. But through the years we've become, you know, we'll get all upset about losing someone, and then all of a sudden it's like, guess who's coming back? So I feel like now we're a little gun shy and getting really emotional about anybody that dies, because we're like, well, listen, I'm not saying goodbye, okay? Because I'm just gonna say, I'll probably see you later. And if I don't, then I'll get sad, but I'll have forgotten about you anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a great defense mechanism.
I think I took it pretty hard. I think it was pretty difficult the first time I ever read about Sam Winchester's death. I was like, oh man, I like this show. Gotta do what you gotta do. And then luckily I got a script for the next episode. I was like, oh, I'm back. That's good.
I felt like that the first 60 times I read Dean's death. And I finally got over it.
That having been said, I did take Bobby's death. It was pretty rough. It was a great episode. It was a proper send-off. And here's the reason. And this, we didn't know that there'd be a season 13 and an Apocalypse World and a season 12 where we run into like a bizarro Bobby. And so what the wonderful but tragic thing about when Bobby died is it was such a proper send-off. We weren't in the episode a whole lot. You know, it was a lot of him and Rufus. And so it felt like, man, I know it's supernatural, he can come back, but that was such a proper send-off for such a beloved character that it would kind of be a shame if next episode he was like, here I am, I'm better. You're like, oh, come on. But it was like such a nice tribute to such a beloved character. But I think, luckily, with Apocalypse World, we were able to bring him back properly, but not really bring him back, but bring a version of him back. So yeah, let's go with Bobby. Charlie, you know.
Yeah.
Now we're all sad.
I mean, Ruby. Probably would have led without.
Yeah. I'm gonna saw her more often. Thank you for your question. Hi.
Hi. So this is my friend's question because I didn't think I'd actually get picked, and so I didn't have a question.
What?
Well, I just.
Well, I'm gonna give you my friend's answer.
If your wives were here, what bad habits would they say that you guys have? Why?
How much time you got? I'm gonna be here all day.
I know one, just because there are many. The one that comes to mind, and this is only something that she would really know, because I don't really get ready for bed around anybody else. But when I'm in the bathroom and I'm like, you know, brushing my teeth and getting ready for bed, I don't know why, but I tend to do everything very mechanical and loudly. So it's almost like I'm working in a bar. Like I'm spinning the toothpaste and slamming it down, and then boom, hitting the faucet thing on, hitting it off, and she's just like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just brushing my teeth. I don't know what the problem is." And she's like, "Why do you have to bang everything around?" And I'm like, "I'm just nothing. I don't what." And I never realized I did it until like just recently. She pointed it out, and now it's all I'm aware of. It's just. It's like a full-on Tom Cruise and Cocktail, just like spinning things, slamming them on the ground, doing this, kicking things, the door closed over there, opening this. And I realized I make so much noise when I'm getting ready for bed. There you go. There's one thing, and it annoys the hell out of her too. But I'm not gonna stop.
I have two main things. I'll go with when we're at home for number one, and when we're traveling for number two. So when we're at home, I leave the doors open, like to outside. If I go outside to take the garbage out, or to feed the chickens, or to let the dog out, or something.
Which, if you live in like Southern California or it's fine. In Central Texas,
spiders and tarantulas.
Everything.
And snakes.
Yeah, snakes, mosquitoes.
And also, you know, your air conditioning bill gets a lot more expensive. And then when we're traveling, I guess there are two major things. The main one is that if I go to the gym in the morning and I sweat, so I don't, like, I'm not gonna pay $30 to wash a pair of shorts. So I'll go from the gym to the shower and start showering with my clothes on to wash the sweat off. And then I'll take it off and bunch it up in the shower and squeegee it out. And then I'll kind of put the pieces in the bathroom, like one over the bath nozzle, one on the side of the bath, because I want them to dry, because I don't want them to be moldy, you know? And she gets so mad, because there'll be like a sock over here, piece of underwear there, workout shirt, a beanie, and she's like, your stuff is all over the bathroom, like I can't do anything. And then if I leave for a little bit, then I get mad, because then when I go somewhere, she'll bundle it all up and throw it in with like a t-shirt that wasn't a workout shirt. And I'm like, you're throwing it with workout clothes that are nasty and stinky, and I'm gonna wash those when I get home. And, so I know she doesn't like that very much. And I keep the AC on super cold, like 65 degrees. That's what I'm talking about. So I get home and I'm like, it's a sauna in here. And she's freezing.
Yeah, the temperature, the thermostat is a constant battle in my family, and will forever be. I'm going to point out one thing, a pet peeve of his, that is a pet peeve of mine. Something that you do that is a pet peeve of mine. Whenever he comes into my trailer, which is often, we're often, you know, come in and run lines or, you know, chatting about whatever, you know, talk about what we're going to do this weekend. Walk up and there's a countertop right there, and then like a sink on the back side of it, and then there's like chairs and stuff over there. He'll walk up, no joke, every time I could set my watch by it, he does this. And puts his gum on my counter. Every time. And I'll walk over and I'll see it and I'll be like, why? He's like, oh, I'm not done with it. Like every single time. Like, it's almost like he's like taking his shoes off before he enters someone's house. He walks into my trailer and he takes the gum out of his mouth and puts it on my countertop, and then he does. He picks it back up and puts it in his mouth and leaves. And I'm like, we have an infinite supply of gum at craft service, an infinite supply.
Gum tastes better when it's been exposed to oxygen.
That
That's
is
why you smack it.
not true.
Smacking makes it taste better. Yes. Y'all got something to learn. They're all gonna secretly go home and go like, all right, let's give it a shot. And like leave gum out, pick it back up and go, okay, I'll be damned. He was right.
Like Will Ferrell and Elf, you find the gum underneath the subway and you're like, oh my gosh, these are so old, they're amazing. They've been exposed to oxygen for years.
Genevieve was telling me the story. She was going through customs. She had flown from Austin to Vancouver. This was years ago. I think Tom was a baby. And the person in front of her, you know, you go to the counter and here's my passport, here's my declaration, and I'm coming here to visit. And she's like, we had just had our first kid. And she's looking, and the kid is maybe like 4 or 5 years old in front of her. And the kid is like holding up the counter going like this. And the poor parents don't see what's going on because they're terrified they're gonna get deported or something, so they're like dealing with their passport. Finally, the kid is like trying to pick himself up, and Jen's watching this all go down, like, what is going on? What's wrong with this kid? And so finally, he gives up and pulls a piece of gum. And Jen's like, oh God, my kid's gonna do that.
And then Jared looks at the kid and goes, hey.
Hey, is there any more down there?
Save some for me.
Hook her brother up.
It's gross and you need to stop it.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hook her brother up. Don't want to hog it. Yes, it does. It'll get better. You will try it. You will try it. These are the droids you're looking for.
And my question is, I am a local boudoir photographer,
That's a statement.
and we have desk whiskey in our studio,
Also a statement.
and I'm wondering what kind of whiskey you would add to our collection. We currently
Also a
have Winchester whiskey and Jack Daniels almost always.
6 statements.
No, it's a question. What kind of whiskey would you add to our collection?
That was
To desk whiskey?
To our desk whiskey
To
collection.
your desk whiskey? Well, I'll say the one that is popular not on the set of Supernatural or anywhere close to production would be Bullet Bourbon.
Yeah, and Bullet 10 is not much more expensive, but it's a lot smoother.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Quick and easy.
Hi, Jared. Hi,
Hey, guys.
Jensen. My name's Robert Hawk, and this is my daughter Liz. We're from Lincoln City, Oregon. My question to you is, on set, what is your most embarrassing moment?
That's a great question. I ripped my pants. I did. I ripped my pants.
Yeah, the hard thing is that I don't really get embarrassed about much. Is the problem. Yeah, he ripped his pants and immediately was like laughing louder than anybody else at himself. You know what? I tend to get because of the nature of the show. A lot of it is smaller sets. It's either on a sound stage or it's in an empty building or a dilapidated house or something to that effect, where there's not a lot of additional performers on camera. So he and I've gotten really used to working with like minimal surroundings. Whenever we do big, giant, big scenes with a ton of extras, or when we're addressing a crowd or doing anything with a ton of people, it gets a little bit more intimidating. And when you're addressing like a big crowd of extras and you're trying to give them like a motivational speech, you're doing something and then you turn around and you fall on your face, that was pretty embarrassing. The good thing is that I work with people that don't like to exploit that very much. Oh no, wait, they put it like 4 times in the gag reel. It was the only moment they repeated literally 4 times. That was, like I said, I don't get embarrassed often, but for some reason that one was, that was teed up for embarrassment on that one.
There's also, I don't want to say it's embarrassing, but there's a certain dynamic to when you work with these guys and gals on the crew, on the cast, and script supervisors, and gaffers, and grips, and electricians, and construction guys and gals. And then when you have a sex scene to shoot, and so all of a sudden these people you've known, their kids' names and their wives' names, and you meet like in public, and you're like, okay, all right, sorry guys, about to take all my clothes off. You're embarrassed for them because they like don't want to look at you. They're like, hey, how's your family? It's good? Yep. Looking around like so awkwardly trying to avoid looking at you because you're standing there in your underwear. Like, it's all right, buddy. We've all got them. Well,
yeah, but you get the opposite, which is this. And then you have to tell Cliff to go back out to the parking lot.
Sir, rim shot. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
This is my first convention, so bear with me.
So far, so good?
Huh?
So far, so good?
Yeah.
with Shoshana, and how much sign language did you learn?
Shoshana is awesome. She's a champ. And even the episode after she'd become a mother, like she had her hands full, obviously, mothering and acting and wifing and adulting all at once, especially with guys like Jensen and myself being not very helpful on set because we're always goofing around. She's awesome. I knew a bit of sign language because when Tom was born, my oldest, we used to watch a lot of Signing Time with Alex and Leah. I don't know if you guys watch that. It's great, and it really helped Tom communicate at a young age. So I knew stuff, it was basic stuff like milk and more and ball and, you know, nothing I could really talk to an adult about. She was very patient and I don't know, she's a doll. She was another tough one to lose.
She's actually so good at reading lips and actually very good, as you could see the episode, of actually speaking, that you don't really need to sign with her. It's amazing how effortless the communication is with her. I mean, it's pretty awesome. She's an incredible person. We really like her, miss her. Yeah.
So all the love from us to her, wherever she is in the world.
Hi. On season 3 on the writer's strike, Jensen, did you feel this would be the end and that you would have been stuck in hell forever?
That was after
Yeah, technically the writer's strike ended when we came back and that
the
happened.
last day of shooting before the writer's strike was the mystery spot diner scene. The Sam Winchester keeps a rumor at the bed in the morning.
Right. We didn't really know what was going to happen. We knew obviously that the strike wouldn't, it wouldn't last forever. But we knew it was going to be, it was going to last for a while. And at that point, there was, they almost had to bring us back because the writers weren't writing anything else.
Okay.
So they weren't creating anything else to replace us. Everybody was on strike. So when the strike was lifted and the studios were then like, okay, let's get back to work, then it was basically everything that was on air had a bit of a, immunity clause in it. So we knew that we were going to be safe as far as that particular season went. But we didn't know how long. In fact, as soon as we wrapped, I shaved my head. Just because I don't know why. I just did. Because I knew it was going to be at least a while before we came back, and by then my hair would have grown out. So, but yeah, that was an interesting time. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we hope it continues on.
The writer's strike?
No, you guys play.
Oh, okay.
It's over now.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So my question is, I was going to ask, since a lot of us spend a lot of time online looking at pictures of you guys and things about the show, what's your favorite thing that you found online about you guys or the show?
I've posted it. My L'Oreal commercial is legit. Somebody, if you're in here, I'd like to give you a hug. Somebody photoshopped a
You
picture
did
of
a
me.
L'Oreal commercial?
No, it was like they put me on a GIF of Beyonce, like twisting around, and I was mesmerized. I'd never had that reaction looking at
Sounds like a
myself.
nightmare.
I couldn't figure out if it was a nightmare or a dream. I was just like, what is happening now? I think I just forwarded it to about every single person I knew, and then just started sitting at the random numbers. Like, hey, thinking about you. 424-837-1234. Who is this? Never mind. Cool gift, huh? That made me laugh for sure. And then as far as the show, it was the 9 styles, the 9 hairstyles of the Winchester brothers. That again, I forwarded many, many times. So that's my personal and show favorite internet moments.
when, and I have an iPhone, so I don't know if this was all servers or whatever, but when Apple added that, where you could send GIFs in the text message thing, and there were plenty of Dean or myself, and I started using those GIFs to send my buddies back home.
They're so mad.
They're so angry. You can't GIF yourself. I can. That's gone a long way in my world.
I'm on a text thread with a few other buddies, and one of them is a mutual friend of ours, and he sent a GIF that was somebody going like this, and it just said "bless this post" because there was a funny text earlier. And I looked closer, and it was Pellegrino as Lucifer doing this, and somebody had written "bless this post." It was Walker, and I was like, "Hey Walker, thanks for the Supernatural shout out." He was like, "What?" And I was like, "You just used a Supernatural GIF." He's like, "Damn it!" He didn't realize. I love that we've infiltrated even like our buddies who don't want to send Supernatural.
Who don't even know that there's something Supernatural. Such glorious payoff. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, so I was wondering, when do you guys think Adam will finally get out of the cage?
When we let him.
Have you met Jake? Yeah, Jake is awesome. Jake's an amazing, amazing guy, fantastic actor. I would love to work with him again anytime, any place. Bringing him out of the cage brings him a whole new set of worms, which I guess Supernatural can do it. But hopefully we do. I'd love to have him out of the cage. It'd be interesting to see what he's like. I mean, because even when we met him, he was no longer really alive. So it'd be an interesting storyline. But I would just like to have Jake around. He's pretty badass.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I got a picture
I know
of you guys
Sam.
earlier, and you saw my son, who was the one in the Metallica shirt, and I just wanted to know how you guys integrate your acting career with your son and your children. I'm a full-time mom myself, and I just wanted some input.
Our wives do the lion's share of kid rendering. Thank God, because that means our 6 children have a chance.
Seems fair.
Yeah, I think I've struggled a lot with feeling bad about being gone and not being there to pick them up from school, to drop them off, to see practices, this and that. And I've had many people tell me who have older kids, 10, 12, 14, whatever, say it's more about the quality than the quantity. You know, you have parents who are around their children all the time and have a not great relationship with their kids because they're not present. And so I think one of the blessings of our curse of not seeing them a lot is that we have to make the most of our time with our kids. So when we're with our, you know, I speak for myself, and I know he as well. When we're with our kids, it's playtime, you know? Like you're chasing tarantulas and lizards and jumping in the pool and playing in the swing set and chasing each other around and doing hopscotch and walking around the neighborhood. So I think it's just trying to get as much quality time as possible.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi.
Hey guys. So I actually have 2 questions. One's a safe question in case I can't get through this one. So Supernatural has had a huge impact on so many lives, including my own.
You got it.
And none of us want to think about when it's not on the air anymore. What I do want to think about is how the family will continue and the good acts that will continue to happen. Have you guys put any thought into what you would like to see or how you would like to see that continue?
I don't, not necessarily, because and we touched on this a little bit this morning in the gold panel. We don't know where the finish line is. We haven't seen it yet, and so to start making plans for beyond that, in my opinion, is just premature because start making plans. Oh well, if it ends next year, then this is what we need to line up for the following year. But what if it lasts for another several years? Things in our life might change. So I don't know where we're going to be personally in a year or 2 or 3 from now. But I do know that, and I think he agrees with me in this. What we've built here with this show and with this fandom is not something that dissolves when the show stops.
And I think even furthermore, and I met a few people today who kind of said this very thing. What's so exciting to me is because he and we're with you. Like this show has meant a lot to us as well, obviously, and the people we've met, the friendships we've made, and whatnot. So I love so much seeing people say like, "Hey, we've been friends for a year online. We just met for the first time." Like all these little. It's like the exploding dots I used to draw back in middle school, and this one leads to this one, which goes it's like a pyramid. So even if and when the show does end, I think there's so many connections and so many relationships that have been kind of fostered through this show and through these conventions that I know those will carry on, and hopefully we get to still see you guys a couple times a year. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name's Janelle. I'm from...
Janelle?
Yes.
Like Jen Danielle? Will you spell it?
How do you spell her?
Jenille.
That's Janelle. Bravo.
So my question is relating to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I hope a lot of people here know. So,
Do you have a sister named Jared?
Do you have a parent named Jamari?
No, I'm sorry.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, go.
So, with the Scooby-Doo episode coming up, if you could write an episode with Buffy and the supernatural, how would you write it, and what would you do for the plot?
Yeah. And who would play Angel? Would it be an angel or would it be Angel?
It would.
Angels.
It would look a lot like this.
How would you do it? Because you've thought about this.
I'm not a writer then, I'll answer.
Well, neither
Whoa,
are we.
whoa.
I don't know, I've read a lot of, not read, but I've seen fan fictions of people writing about Buffy and Dean together.
If you've seen them,
I'm cool with that.
I don't know.
Yeah, all right, great. Write that. Dean, Buffy,
What about Sam?
then have Scooby running by in the background. Run by her. Ruh-roh.
Yeah, what's Sam doing when Dean's off with Buffy?
Walking the dog.
Thank you, Janelle.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
My name is Julie, and I put my name in as a joke, but now I'm really standing right here, so hi.
Joke's on you.
Joke's on me.
So tell us a joke.
Oh, okay. No. I'm good.
Jared, tell us a joke.
Okay. A guy walks up to the meat market. He orders a steak and kidney pie. The butcher says, "I think you just said kidney." The guy says, "No, I didly." No, I didly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I asked, and I should have known.
Julie,
Yes.
I can row a boat. Canoe?
Okay.
No, don't leave, please.
Alright, so my question's gonna be kind of a mashup between my question and my friend Chrissy's question. Excuse me. Is there any regular TV shows or reality TV shows that you personally like watching on downtime? Like, is there any of that? Any Housewives? Jersey Shore? I don't know.
There's only one Housewives. It's New York. Come on.
I'm gonna sell him out. So,
Please do.
we have TV in our trailers, right? And they splice it. You know, we have a box in each of our trailers, cable box in each of our trailers, but it's on like a whole home system. So if I record something, it shows up in his trailer, and if you record something, it shows up in my trailer. So,
Please go on.
I have like, what was the episode? I had like 3 days off and you were filming. It was some episode like 3 months ago or whatever it was.
It's called Below Deck.
Yes, Below Deck. I show up and I'm like, I didn't record 30 episodes of Below Deck in the last 3 days. What's going on? So it's like a yachting show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My wife is
Oh, my wife.
she watches these shows, unfortunately, and then when I go home on the weekends, I'm subjected to them on a loop, and it's kind of one of those things where you can't help but start to be like, well, wait, now I thought this one was with that guy last time, and now she's with what happened there?
It's reality.
And now all of a sudden I'm asking questions because I'm stupidly interested in it. And, you know, my mother, God bless her, had the foresight to, when I was a kid and I'd walk in to the living room and she had all my children on the TV, and I started
On
going,
Days of Our Lives?
No. Yes, that was a point of contention in our house for a long time. And I walk by and I'd be like, wait a second, I thought that person was with that person, and she'd be like, get out. You are not allowed to watch this. And I was like, why? It's a soap opera, it's daytime. But now I know why, because it would have sucked me right in. And these shows now do that, and that was one that she got me hooked on. I don't watch it anymore, but that was, it was bad for a while. Actual television shows that I watch. Seen all the Game of Thrones. Seen all of Peaky Blinders. All of Taboo. All of, yeah, love Tom, anything Tom Hardy. Ozark.
That's Netflix. Are we counting?
Series, yeah, that's a television series. Yeah, so those are a few. I mean, to be honest, and those are, you know, obviously Netflix does it differently than we do, or they get it all at one time, and so I'm able to just like knock those out in a few flights, and then I'm without TV, and I have to subject it to Below Deck.
I feel like, I'm trying to think of what's on. I watch like Tosh.0 and John Oliver, The Prophet, Shark Tank.
That's not a TV show. She
It's on
said
TV.
a television series or a reality show.
She said either a real show
Just say
or
The
reality show.
Bachelorette.
I don't think I've ever seen The Bachelor.
Not The Bachelor with all the pretty girls. He watches The Bachelorette
I'm
with
trying
all
to
the
think
pretty
of-
dudes.
What Why do you think I took this job next to you?
That's right.
Only one pretty dude in my world. I feel like I
Maybe
don't
he's
watch.
in the mirror.
I don't watch. I don't feel like I watch a whole lot of scriptedness. I mean, they're all scripted. Jeopardy's not scripted, I suppose. The animated? Futurama. Future Man? Hulu. Got it. Yeah, great. I haven't watched Futurama. Futurama's great. Altered Carbon.
All right, she asked us the question.
Thank you, Julie, for your question.
Thank you.
Bye.
Look, if you
Check out
have any
Supernatural.
shows that you want to suggest to us, write them down and put them in the trash can in the back of the car.
Hey, so Kim is right. This is awesome and terrifying at the same time. So being a fan of both of yours from projects prior to Supernatural, not that we want Supernatural to ever end, but if you were going to go back to a prior project, what would it be and what have you learned during your years in Supernatural that you would take back to that project with you?
Yeah, I think that was pretty easy for me. That'd be Dark Angel. And what I've learned is, I would say, how to create an environment that is healthy and fun and exciting to work in, as opposed to kind of the not so great days we had on that show, which was nobody specifically's fault. It was just, there was a lot of pressure on that show, and it was unfortunate the way it ended, but I thought that it had a lot of good stuff and a lot of good qualities, and I would have liked to have seen it gone on a lot longer.
I would actually redo House of Wax because it was my first time really dealing with. I'd come from Gilmore Girls. I'd come from or whatever I'd done. I had always been acting to a human being. House of Wax was my first real experience where it's like, okay, we need you to look at that piece of tape because this is where the bad guy comes out. I was like, what? Like I can't see anybody, but it was such a different. I hadn't yet been used to acting to a blank wall just for the sake of special effects or visual effects. All my stuff prior had been scenes like I did in school, like I did in drama class or plays or whatever growing up. So I feel like House of Wax kind of caught me off guard and kind of intimidated me. So knowing what I know now, I can go back and I know how to play.
I wonder if they have in like actual drama schools. Some of you might actually be able to answer this, but like in these really fancy drama schools, if they actually have courses that deal with green screen acting or acting to an imaginary universe or imaginary
Or someone on
people.
camera is just reading the dialogue from the other person you can't see.
It's totally bizarre, and it's something that you really have to kind of get used to and understand and learn. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody teaching that or that being in the curriculum. What's that? Start it? No.
Start it.
Yeah,
Do it.
start it. It's the Supernatural School of Acting to Nothing. And I don't mean him.
The green tape is the vampire, the blue tape is the demon, the red tape, like, okay, fight. Thank you for your question.
It's the last question. That's right.
last question, so we are going to do the routine of bringing you up here in front of everybody so you can see your family. And what is your question?
So, when Sam and Dean salt and burn a body, I've noticed that they don't wait until the fire is out and they just leave.
Whoa. Do you have a different question, Eleanor?
And I was wondering if you guys waited until the fire was out and then you put the dirt back in the grave, would that give the cops one less reason to come after you and then not get arrested?
Well, you see, I think we're leaving, my opinion is, we're leaving clues where we know we're not going to be anymore. We're not staying in the town, so we want to make sure that the local law enforcement isn't following us.
Let's be honest.
We don't know.
We set it up. We take safety precautions. We put fire retardant all around the grass and surrounding areas. We've actually created a sinkhole so that when it collapses to a certain level, it actually sinks inside. We go to the diner, have a burger and a little piece of pie. We come back, finish the job, but here's the problem. It's only a 42-minute show and we can't show all that.
However, I do want the episode that's just 42 minutes of us like setting up a burial, a grave, going, eating pancakes, like, all right, time to plant the sod, and going back, like, roll credits.
You'll also notice that our graves are dug with laser precision. They're perfect rectangles.
We've gotten really good at it.
I don't know if you've ever tried to dig a hole 6 feet into the ground. It's not pretty. Ours is.
Thank you. That was last Christmas. That was last Christmas. That was last Christmas. That was the very last Christmas. It's okay. No more questions. No more last Christmas to you. Last Christmas up the road. Last Christmas. Good night, Irene.
If you've been to the conventions and you've been to these panels, you know that this is usually where we sign off and send these boys off stage. But we're not doing that just yet. We're not? Because we are auctioning off your sweatshirt. For charity.
For those of you who have become friends and familiar with our I Am Alive friends, where are they? We are auctioning this off to go towards all of the great work they do. It occurred to us that this is a cool sweatshirt that has never been sold, and I think with all the views that it got with our little dancing video, it was like, cool, let's raise some money for a good cause. So if somebody wants it, I think it stinks because I've been wearing it all day.
Yeah, I will warn you that it's going to be soaked in the musk. You can pretty much assume. I can also assume that it'll be signed by Jared and Jensen as well. So, no, sorry, just it won't be signed. I stand corrected. It'll just be soaked in their oil. Anyway, here we go. Benedict, I turn over the auctioning to you, sir.
Again, 100%, every dollar, every cent is
every dollar.
I Am Alive.
Except for, of course,
Here they are.
the taste we got to give Rob Benedict for doing his job.
It's a large for those who are curious.
Oh, credit cards, cash, or Bolivian Coke. Thank you.
No checks, credit cards, or cash.
Rob, you're the best. You're already.
All right, we're going to start with $100.
$100.
Okay, right here, $100. I have 300. I have 300. I have 500 here. 500. Do I have 6? Do I have 600? 600 here. 600. 600. I have 7. 700 here. 7. Do I have 8? I have 10.
Just keep in mind,
It also smells like Jensen.
I have $1,000.
Listen, hold on. I'm stopping right now. Matt Cohen's unitard, his moose knuckle unitard, went for $2,500. We're starting at $2,500. We're going to go ahead and go big. Let's go.
Oh wait, we're starting.
Come on, Robbie, make it happen.
All right, we're starting at 2,500. Do I see 2,500?
We got right there. 2,500.
Where? All right, 2,500. We got 2,500. Do I see 26? Do I see 2,600? $2,600 here. 26 or do I see 27? 2,700 for this
Oh, look at that, 2,300, 2,800, 23,000. Sorry, I lost count.
You went down.
3,000.
Do I hear a dollar? Do I hear a dollar? Okay, Rob Benedict will pay you $1,000.
Wait, hold on. 3,000? 3,000? Oh, we had 3,000 here, right? 3,100? 3,100? 3,100? 3,100. Do I see 32? 3,500. 3,500 here. Do I see 36? 3,600. 36. I got 3,500. Do I see 36?
36 right there, 3,600 bucks.
3,600. 3,600. Do I see 37? 37. Let me see 37. Look at him. He's wearing it. He's wearing it now. It said Musk all over it. It's the
Come on,
best
something
sweatshirt. Where we at, Rich? Where we at? Where we at?
36.
We're 36.